It's time. We've got the Steelers at the Vikings, Thursday night football. Where my turds at? Let's do it. All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another Where My Turds At Showdown Breakdown Thursday Night Football. My name is Kevin Allen, a.k.a. the Geek from DFS Army. I got my boy, my partner in crime, Bobbywow, a.k.a. Bobby Millions, a.k.a. Bobby Ducats, a.k.a. Bobby Big Pockets, here with me, the Showdown champion. You know, you guys don't know this who are watching. Bobbywow once showed me a screenshot. I believe it was during the MLB playoffs on a Showdown, where he was like casually in a giant contest with like 20,000 people or 50,000 entries. Like, yeah, no, I took first, second, third, fifth, seventh, ninth, and 10th place. First page of Bobbywow. That was pretty epic. I think that was as epic as anything I've ever seen. Like that was like borderline. He's won $1 million, but that was more epic even than that. I was like, holy shit! Wow, are you the only one in this? How do you take first, second, third, fourth, sixth, eighth, and 10th?
Crazy, man. All because of the DFS Army notes. That wasn't even me. I mean, I just plugged the stuff in. So
props to Razzle.
Yep.
Props to Raz on that one. MLB Showdown. So we have got Bobby. There it is. Bobby Brinks. What would Bobby Brinks do? All right. So we've got a good one here between the Vikings and the Steelers. The big news is Dalvin Cook will play. Other big news, Adam Thielen's out. Other big news is that you've identified some interesting trends that I really want to kind of dive into, including this whole Ray McLeod situation. And I'm trying to figure out if Ray was in a little bit more because Chase Claypool has been in and out of the game, or is this a Ray over James Washington situation? I think you're right that it is a Washington situation, but we're going to dive into this game and let's jump right into it. And I have a quote from DFSupNORTH, a.k.a. Josh. I need more AKAs for him. I'll work on it. But the quote is, quote, Vikings secondary sucks. So he gave us a little bit of insight on the Vikings, his local team. So Bobbywow, let's get into it. We got the Vikings here. Dalvin Cook is back. Alexander Mattison and Cook splitting carries. Do you have any interest in Mattison at this point, knowing that Cook is back?
Zero. I have zero interest in Mattison. I think, this was a situation we saw before. It sounds like Cook is going to be in a shoulder harness. And legitimately, last time he was like this, last time he wore a shoulder harness, he got the full workload, scored 2 tutties, rushed for over 100 yards. So I have zero interest in Mattison. He's a full fade for me tonight on both sides.
Shoulder harness. I don't even know what to make of that. But I know that I did have to slot Dalvin Cook right back into my season-long lineup because what are you going to do? So, no Mattison. Madison's priced as a starter. It's going to be really tough. I think Dalvin would need to hurt the other shoulder like on the first play for Mattison to really come into play here or something like that. So I don't like his chances.
Yeah, well, I'm just reading here. So the exact stats were, it was the wild card game against the Saints in January 2020. He ran the ball 31 times, scored twice for over 130 yards. So I think, it sounds like he is going to be full reps. Mattison back to his RB2. So not even a split here.
All right, no touchies for Mattison. We stay away at his salary. It's ridiculous. The other big news for Minnesota is, of course, that Adam Thielen out. So with Thielen out, we're going to see some serious Justin Jefferson focus in this lineup. But the one that actually stood out to me last week, Bobbywow, was it seemed to me that Tyler Conklin was picking up the Thielen targets. Did you observe this as well?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear. Tyler Conklin was a huge beneficiary. He saw a season high in targets last week. So he's a fantastic play. I think in my notes, I talk about both tight ends. I love both tight ends tonight. I think both are excellent plays, but Tyler Conklin for sure gets a little bonus without Thielen being in there.
Yeah, 9 targets last week. Conklin hasn't been a 9 targets guy. So that really stood out. Like you look at kind of like what changed, right? It's like no Thielen, all of a sudden 3, 3, 5, 7. He's used, but all of a sudden these low targets, all of a sudden you get the 9 target pop. So you have to consider that. I just want to take a look because I know a lot of people talking about DD Westbrook here. Oh man, DD Westbrook's not that cheap at 2,200. I like a DD at 200, not 2,200. Seems a little spendy to me, Bobbywow.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's going to be the third wide receiver option. I don't think we saw exactly, what his workload is going to look like last week. But again, it's DD Westbrook. I, honest to God, didn't know he was in the league before doing these notes.
Yeah, let's
was still in the league. So yeah,
DD Westbrook sucks. He sucks. So keep that in mind as you want to click that button over and over again because it allows you to forward some other things. That I would say the most likely, like my projection for DD in this game is like a 2.3. 2 receptions.
Yeah, I know, but what if we learn this every week? It's like the guy that stinks is the guy that breaks the slate. So I'm not saying go all in on DD by any means. He's still a turdly option, but he'll see a couple targets, I think.
Yeah, he's very turdly though. KJ Osborne is the other wide receiver, and he's had a little bit of action. He's had a little bit of interest. He's been involved, and I do think that KJ Osborne is certainly very playable. No bargain price here. No bargain price on either site. Osborne, not much of a touchdown maker, and 5,600. It's not like you're getting a bargain here, but he does get targets.
Yeah, I like KJ a lot. I mean, he's been a guy that's been involved even with both Thielen and Jefferson on the field. So clearly they like what he can do. And yeah, I think for me, you're going to have to decide, do I want to play, probably going to want to play 2 of Osborne, Conklin, and Freiermuth. So you got to decide who you think is going to produce better tonight. And yeah, I actually think Osborne is perfectly in play.
I'm certainly in play. I wouldn't say like super bargain play. The other tight end, we've had a lot of luck with second tight ends this season. Chris Herndon, though, really lightly used. He is the turdliest of turds in this matchup. Can certainly catch a touchdown. It can happen with any backup tight end. We know the play. Fake handoff. You're hoping for Dalvin Cook. All of a sudden, you see some fatty just kind of like trotting alone in the end zone. And who is it? It's not. It's Conklin. Is it Conklin? No. Who is that? It's Herndon. Done. TV off. Throw it. What's on tonight? Bachelorette. Let's go. It's done. Damn it. Didn't play Herndon. So play like 1 share of Herndon just in case that happens. But it's super unlikely that he will get even a target.
He's a former Jet, right? So take that.
I'm very familiar with Chris Herndon.
Okay.
How do we feel about Kirk Cousins just in general in a game like this? I'm a liker of Kirk Cousins overall. I think he's probably the better play between him and Roethlisberger. I
like Kirk. I think he gets an unfair rap. I think the primetime thing is real, or at least games when it matters. But I like Kirk a lot. I think he's underrated. And I think he's in a good spot tonight. The Steelers are overrated as a defense as a whole. I think, I wrote in the notes, they're a shell of what they used to be. So although we don't expect a ton of scoring in the game, I do like Kirk Cousins in this.
You know how many times I've been there on that tilt? Like, oh my God, Ray McLeod, are you shitting me? Turn it off. I'm done. Speaking of Ray, let's talk some Steelers here and see what we can. The turds are coming from this side of the ledger. The Vikings don't mess with a lot of players. It's like Dalvin Cook, okay, Conklin, Justin Jefferson, Osborne. That's it. You don't. They're not like that team that's spreading the football around. That's not their game. It's not what they're going to do. The Steelers a little bit will get you. So on the Steelers side, we got Naji Harris, 96% of the snaps last week. I mean, what more can you ask? He's going to get all the touches, going to get plenty of targets. It's a good matchup indoors. Everything to like. Beyond him, Do you know, Bobbywow, that Deontay Johnson, like if you look at his metrics this season, he's second only to Cooper Kupp in terms of total targets, touchdowns. Like this dude is elite. I called him the cheat code last season. I invented Deontay Johnson last year when no one had heard of him. We played him every single week last season. My guy is still doing it. All right. And at this point, it's not, it's not a secret anymore. Deontay's good. 36% targets last week. I mean, no one came close. Guy's scoring touchdowns now. He is young Antonio Brown. I'm telling you, he's a talented guy. He's a talented guy. So Deontay Johnson versus Justin Jefferson for captain. That's probably your best two captains this week. No.
Yeah, I mean they're pricey, but yeah, I agree. Their upside is there.
Yeah, I think it's those two. After Johnson, Chase Claypool finally healing up. He's had some injury issues. The biggest problem with Chase Claypool is he's a high ADOT guy, and it does not appear that Roethlisberger is comfortable throwing the ball deep anymore. He's throwing up floaters. I'm trying to hope that maybe because this is indoors in a controlled environment, maybe it's better. What do you think in that situation?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it's tough. I do think a lot of the struggles, I mean, there's been some injury issues, but Big Ben just has not chucked the ball up like he did last season. And so we saw Claypool score 11 touchdowns last season. He's got 1 so far this year. So I don't know. I don't know if the indoor thing's going to help. But I do feel like he's bound for some positive regression, right? Is it going to come tonight? Feels like a pretty good get right spot against the Vikings secondary. So I think you got to have some of them, especially if his projected ownership is coming in somewhat low.
Chase Claypool is live for 2 touchdowns every single game. Roethlisberger does chuck it up to him. It's just they're so far from catchable that they don't even know if they're counting them as targets. Okay. It just looks like he's throwing it away. I'm telling you that, like when you watch these games, he's chucking them, but they're nowhere near where Claypool is. You're like, was that a pass to Claypool, or was that just throwing it out of bounds? Because it's nowhere near him, and I don't know how to judge this. It's unusual in the NFL where you see a quarterback like it just doesn't go anywhere. It's like a Cam Newton situation where he throws it just goes nowhere near where he's aiming, and it's kind of weird. But yeah, he has been throwing them deep. He's thrown like 2 or 3 of those deep shots to Claypool every game. He's just it's not catchable. It's not even Claypool dropping. They're not catchable. They're way away from him. So WR3 situation, I want to go over this with you. James Washington down to 36% of the snaps last week. And in his stead, we have the rise of Ray McLeod. Is that the guy?
Yeah, it's tough to say because like earlier in the season and last year, Big Ben would just do nothing but talk good about James Washington. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, but they showed Ben getting really upset at Washington. And I think that played a role in him seeing less snaps last week. So, I mean, honestly, like Ray McLeod is the more dynamic player. So I don't know if they're making a change, if that's, directly correlated or not. But yeah, I mean, James Washington just hasn't done anything. He had 1 target last week.
And Washington plays the worst role. He's the deep ball guy. Number one, he's competing with Chase Claypool, who plays exactly the same kind of role for the team. So it's not good. And plus, Ben can't deliver those deep balls. So in essence, when Washington's out there, you have 2 guys is running routes that Ben can't actually deliver to. Whereas I guess maybe if they play a little more Ray, maybe we'll get like, all right, at least he runs a more diverse route tree. Where is it, route or route? Route.
I think you could do both. I think interchangeable would be my guess.
Like when I hear myself saying it now, it's fucking with my head. I'm like, route tree. Yeah, it's messing with my brain.
I do think, Geek, though, you're right too. I don't think it's fully related to Washington. So I don't know that Washington's a total fade tonight. We did see Deontay Johnson get shaken up last week a couple times, and that is when Ray came in as well. So that's part of the boost he got. But But yeah, I think both are darts, right? They're MME darts at best.
This guy had 12 targets against Detroit a couple weeks ago. I mean, Ray can break the slate. The problem is, what's 3,200? 3,200.
That's pricey.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they gave us no bargains here. I need a $200 turd because the rest of the team, you want Naji and you want Deontay and you want Justin and you want all these guys. And I need a $200 turd to make it work, and they're not doing that for us. They're basically sticking us with these turds for 3K and 2K. That's a problem. And by the way, what are the chances that Ray McLeod outscores the kicker? He's the same price as the kicker. So now I've got to compete with like 9 points from the kicker, not 2 points from another $200 player. It's not the same math. The math changes when you're the same price as the kicker.
Agreed. Yeah, I think the one semi-interesting play, and again, this hits like once a year, but he does return kicks. And so pairing him with the Steelers defense and then filling the rest of the lineup with studs is interesting. If you get double points if he did score a touchdown, but that is so rare. So I wouldn't plan around that.
Even that feels rarer than a backup quarterback coming in and leading you to the nuts lineup. Like the last time I had a defense and one of these wide receivers who returns kicks actually score and get the credit. I don't think it's ever happened to me in my whole year in all my years of playing.
It's unlikely.
I've had tens of thousands of lineups and players. I don't think it's ever happened to me that I got the double dip. I don't know. I really don't. I can't recall it once. All right, so matchups. Freiermuth and Zach Gentry. So, of course, we always pay attention to the backup tight end, but the primary tight end, Patty Freiermuth, been doing great. Love Pat Freiermuth. Always like him. He's a touchdown maker. I think we'd agree. We like him as a play here.
Absolutely. I love Freiermuth. Both tight ends, again, they're a little bit too cheap. They are like the guys. Sometimes you get the split like in New England with Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. That is not the case. Both Freiermuth with Ebron out and Conklin in Minnesota, they're the guys that are running the routes. So I love both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, Zach Gentry, your backup tight end play that seems to win on FanDuel every single week. So, I'm just going to give more of a mathematical approach to Zach Gentry, which is it's forced like 6 to 7%. You use the force min on the Dom station when you're running your lineups. When you got these turds that might score a touchdown and crush the game, I usually go like 5 to 7%. Bobbywow, what would Bobbywow do?
Yeah, see, I don't know. Like in this instance, it's hard to even label them as turds because Gentry's price is $2,600 on DraftKings. Like, how do you not just go up to Ray at that price? So I don't know. A guy like Gentry, he's just too expensive for me. He's going to have to score 10 points probably at that price.
I was thinking more FanDuel. I'm thinking more FanDuel.
Yeah, FanDuel, I think getting 5%, being right around the field. If you have a strong feeling, 10%. But I'm with you, Geek. Yeah,
it's like for all the turds. I don't distinguish between the turds. I was just like, if you're in the game and you have a chance of getting a touchdown, I'm going to force a minimum of 5% on you. Period. And sometimes if I like the guy, I'm going to go a little higher. But it's more of a mathematical, like, if it's 2%, it's too little. If it's 10%, you're killing too many lineups. There's that perfect level depending on the player, where you just want to make sure, like that. How we liked Zach Rudolph that one game, Kyle Rudolph, whatever. And it's like, all right, yeah, he's going to be 3% on. Like, what do I need to get to just to make sure that if he does get that touchdown, I'm going to get my full advantage. For a guy like that who we actually think might score, I'm usually more like 10% or 12%. But for a Gentry or for this guy, Herndon, it's more in that 2 to 5% range where you're just like, all right, if he does it, I don't want to have to break my screen.
Yeah, I think part of it too, the other side is the projected ownership. So like you look at Zach Gentry on FanDuel, his projected ownership's 1%. So you really only need 5% to get 5x the field. So yeah, I'm totally with you there.
Oh, new nickname for Didi right there.
Oh, no.
All right, so quick look at the Bobbywow cheat sheet. And by the way, if you guys like cheat sheets, you guys like domination station optimizers, and you like winning at DFS, and you like being part of a community and part of a group that all looks out for one another, we help each other, we talk through the games, we strategize together, and we root each other on. We genuinely root each other on, and that's a big difference between DFS Army and a lot of other places.
Yeah.
If you want all that, get signed up DFS Army's VIP. Get into the community. We got a free offer. Let me show you something. Right here on the website. This is on all the pages. You click on this little link here, you get a free offer. There's a way to get a free month of DFS Army. You want to do that? Check it out. Check it out for free. Don't send us your dues. Put in that $60 into Super Draft or Owner's Box or any of these sites that sponsor us. You get a free month. Follow the instructions and see what it's all about, man.
Yeah.
Come hang with the winning team. Come hang with the winning team. That's all we ask.
Do it.
Listen, yeah, just do it. All right. So, Showdown cheat sheets. Dude, don't make rules. Don't make rules like that. Herndon and Conklin. Herndon is not tied to Conklin. There's no connection there. Don't make that rule. No rules. No rules like that. If you made a rule, no two running backs, you would have not won the Patriots when it was Harrison and Stevenson. You would have not won the night when Gibson and J.D. McKissick smashed. Avoid those rules. Avoid those rules. All right, so this is DraftKings. We're talking captains, right? And I think the most obvious captain for me, the most obvious guy, Justin Jefferson. He's the big dog in this game. Love wide receivers. They do better on FanDuel. Obviously, there's a price up situation here. It's not that easy to afford a lot of things. But if you're asking me who's the raw top points guy on this slate, it's Justin Jefferson. Who's this Gentry? What's Gentry that Antoine is talking about?
Gentry.
Oh, we already talked about him. All right. Zach, he's just behind on us because I'm like, wait, but we talked about that. Okay. Justin Jefferson. After Jefferson, I've got Deontay Johnson as my second favorite guy. You've got them both with 4 stars. So we're in pretty close to agreement.
Yeah.
Followed by Naji Harris, of course. Naji Harris is more of a Naji Harris, I would put him as more of like the Steelers win the game script. Steelers put a beating on.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree. I think I agree. It's Naji has been underperforming, and I think people are going to be off him for that reason. And so he's really, I don't know, he's intriguing to me tonight. It just feels like the Steelers are going to pound the ball into the end zone with Naji. I don't know why I feel that. I agree. I think Jefferson and Johnson are the two, they're like the big dogs, the obvious choices. But I don't know. I like Naji, even more so on FanDuel.
Yeah, I like that he's had a couple of bad games, by the way. I think that's preferable.
Yeah.
It keeps ownerships down. And listen, 96% of the snaps, and it's against a Vikings team that, quote unquote, is slightly better against the run. Don't even worry about that. Throw shit like that out. This is a showdown. You know who's really good against the run? Number 1, Buffalo. How'd that look the other day?
True.
Throw that shit out. And a lot of times on a Thursday, teams don't have enough time to truly game plan the passing offense, and they might go a little bit run heavy. I've also seen the opposite on a Thursday where the running back's kind of dinged up and he's just played like on Monday or Sunday, and all of a sudden they go light on the run. Like, weird shit happens. But yeah, I like Naji Harris. And a couple people mentioned some oddballs. Number 1, yeah, Chase Claypool, if he gets 2 touchdowns, which he has, and it's in his realm of shit that could happen, it'll be him at very low ownership. Looks like 4%.
And the thing I noted in the notes is just look how cheap he is. He is priced down a ton. The savings you have if you play him at captain are crazy.
You can afford a lot, but obviously he needs some targets. He's got to get some action. But if he gets there, it could be something special. I like that you went down a couple more notches on Osborne. It's, he could get there too at 5,600, but the path to 20 fantasy points for any wide receiver, it's always there. It's readily available. Even turds like kind of semi-turds like KJ Osborne. He's not a turd, but I got to tell you, I like him at 5,600 a lot more than the $3,300 DD Westbrook types. A lot more
absolutely.
than that.
Absolutely.
Like way better, because he's a real player that's going to probably get, like I would say with Osborne, I'd be surprised if he didn't see 7 targets in this game, and he could pop to 9 or 10. But like it would genuinely surprise me. I'm like, wow, he came out of the game with less than 7. That would genuinely be surprising.
Agreed.
Yeah. Vikings, remember our team. They like to focus just a couple guys. They don't spread the football around. It's not, their offense doesn't work that way. Zim doesn't have time for that shit. Like, you want to start making some fancy offense, throwing to a lot of people. That takes a lot of time. Zim's got other stuff going on.
I knew this was going there. Oh my God.
Zim's busy right now.
Jeez Louise.
He's busy.
Yeah, he's busy trying to keep his job, honestly. That's what he should be busy with.
They call him, they're like, Zims, I got some ideas for DD Westbrook. Work him in the game plan. You want to come in? We'll do some X's and O's. He's like, no, I'm not coming in. I'm actually taking the morning off. I got something I got to take care of. Not going to say what, but he's busy.
You're ridiculous.
He's sleeping in late a lot of mornings, Zim.
Oh my gosh. Here's the thing about the Vikings and Zim. I think he's part of the reason. They are the prototypical play to the competition team. We saw this again last week against the Lions. That's why I like Naji a little bit more than most. I think it's going to be a really close game, regardless of how well or how poor the Steelers play. That's just how the Vikings operate. They just play to their opponent. So
and they find a way to lose.
And they find a way. They're the Lions 2.0. It's unbelievable. But I'm here for it.
They will snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory every time. It's brutal. Gunslinger wants to know about, but you know what? Yes. I'm going to accept this. The problem is Mason Rudolph is so bad that even if Roethlisberger comes out and he goes in, your chance of then turning that into anything good is really, really low.
That is awesome. I love it.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, that's the issue. Is like, you're right and you're still wrong. You're like, oh, I bet on an injury. It happened. I got my guy in there and oh shit, it's Mason Rudolph. Oh no.
That's funny.
He's still not doing anything.
Oh man.
So I don't know about Rudolph here. I do have interest in these defenses, both of them. And I know I'm seeing the Vikings defense is terrible in the chat, and I'm seeing all that. Doesn't matter, guys. It does not matter. Both of these defenses are playable. Both kickers. It's in a dome. You could play either kicker. Sometimes the underdog kicker does better, and you're like, huh, that's interesting. Like, you'd always think it would be the favored kicker. It doesn't go that way all the time. Both kickers in play, but not in the same lineup. And again, bigger reason, Bobbywow, for the kickers for me is because, and I know you don't like kickers, but a bigger reason is it's indoors. It's in a dome.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I don't like using kickers often. I was all over Butker last week, and I love Boswell tonight. Chris Boswell is so underpriced and underowned. It's silly.
The Bos.
He's been really good for the Steelers. Honestly, he's a better kicker than Joseph. Both are playable, but Boswell at $3,800 just stands out like crazy to me.
Yeah, no, I like the Bos. I'm a fan of the Bos. So let's take a look at what the captain percentages are here. So it looks like Jefferson 15%, Dalvin Cook 10, Cousins very low at 5. But who wants to play Cousins really at captain? I don't tend to play. I mean, you didn't even put. Oh, you have Roethlisberger here 4%. So finally, at least the captain ownership is actually seemingly more correct than usual. What I don't see here is, Dalvin Cook 10%. Yeah, in play as well. Yeah, I agree with all of it. Let's go down to the turd zone and see about putting a lineup together after this. But Conklin, Madison, I don't think is playable. I mean, just no. The only way Madison smashes is if Cook comes out, and he doesn't even come out. He's like, he aggravated the shoulder. We find out after lock that he's actually not going to play. And then Madison just gets the full start and no one has it.
Yeah, you need to, at some point, you got to be real with yourself and say, okay, what's the checklist of things that need to happen for this guy to pop off? Madison's salary is so high. It's like, okay, what if Cook gets injured? That's not enough. Well, now Cook has to get injured early in the game. Okay, but then Madison also has to smash and run 2 touchdowns. Like the checklist is just too long, so it's fade for me.
Now Hunter's talking about Anthony Miller.
Yeah, well, he played for the Bears, so there's a little bias against him there. But I don't know what's the draw to him. I don't even think he played last week, if I remember correctly.
He did get a target in week 12.
It wasn't last week 13. Isn't this week 14 or no?
Yeah, it was week 12, and he got a target in a game where the Steelers were so far behind. I believe they brought in like the C team. So he got 30% snaps last week. Steelers, So we think it's Ray McLeod. And could it be Anthony Miller for 200?
I don't think that's true, Hunter. Unless I'm seeing things wrong. He got a bunch of snaps 2 weeks ago.
Don't go back to that trade. That was a disaster for the Texans. Texans are not known for their smart trading. Let's see if we can verify if Miller got any snaps last week, or that was 2 weeks ago. So because I don't like a turd. I don't like a hidden turd floating in the bottom of the pool.
Miller stinks. He stinks.
He really is bad. So yeah, I mean, so many turds. All these guys are garbaggio. I think you nailed them correctly. Your emoji is correct here. A lot of turds. It's just all these guys are garbage. Ilhan, Omar Smith.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yep, they're turds.
Ilmir Smith Marset. No. Never even heard. At least that guy's a rookie that I heard of. Dan Chiesa. No. Balaj. It's just really, really gross down here. Yeah. I don't know if even CJ Ham is such a good hidden
I
turd.
lost my interest in CJ when Cook was back. They used him a little more, it felt like, without Cook last week, but yeah, I don't know. He's a turd. He's on the list, so
he's on there, but it's pretty gross. All right, so let's jump over to FanDuel, and FanDuel is where we tend to favor running backs and quarterbacks at the MVP position, simply because the scoring system favors them. And though in this case, it's hard to like Ben in any spot. Kirk Cousins elevated. James Wilburn, man, you might be the only person playing, one of the very, very few playing Madison. Very, very few. And Frank checked in a little late. We did a lot of D.D. Westbrook talk already, but he does appear to be, a reasonably acceptable, probably WR3 candidate for the Vikings. So we think he'll probably be the guy. So FanDuel, obviously, Kirk Cousins in play, Ben Roethlisberger's in play. My first rule is always, if I'm playing Kirk or Ben, I'm making sure that they are stacked, regardless of if it is in the flex or in the captain position. That's very important. I missed out on the nuts with the Taysom Hill night because I didn't make that rule. Stupid me. Deserved the pain. But if it's Kirk Cousins, you want him with at least one. Ben Roethlisberger, at least one. You can almost squeeze two guys in there with a quarterback that's the MVP, but I'm only going to do one. Naturally, lineups will occur with two because it's just how it's going to happen. How high are you on Dalvin Cook as a captain or an MVP?
Yeah, I mean, on FanDuel, it makes even more sense than DraftKings. I was hoping that maybe his ownership would be lower. So yeah, for me, I'm not as interested. Like, look, I think Dalvin Cook is going to get the bulk of the carries. We saw this in 2020.
He's very cheap.
He's cheap. I think he's a solid flex play. Yeah. The way I'm going to play it is I'm going to have more Kirk Cousins tonight. I've just made a decision. It's not because I know something, but that's just where I am. I can get more leverage. So
there you go. All right. I mean, that's fair. I do think I'm going to have to mix in some Dalvin, but I like Naji Harris a little bit more as my MVP. Definitely love Jefferson. I'm not shying away from Jefferson as an MVP at all. But of course, it's difficult. And let me show you a little bit of that math here real quick so you understand. Jefferson's had a bunch of good games, right? Here, so 30, 33. These are he surpassed his quarterback games.
Yep.
Here's the other good games, though. An 18, a 15. These are good games for FanDuel. Now let's compare it to Kirk Cousins. On the 30-point weeks, obviously Kirk did not get there. Right? So I think it was I forgot the order. I forgot the order. All right, it goes 30, 11, 33, 18, 15. 30, 11, 30, 18, 15.
Kirk's getting there almost every other week.
30.
Aside from the 30s.
11, 30, 18, 15. So legitimately, Jefferson is outscoring Cousins enough to where
he is.
Yeah, he gets there. And this offense is so focused on just throwing to Justin Jefferson. Now, the Steelers actually, on the flip side, are actually pretty good at taking out the best weapon of their opponent. I'm not sure that they'll look at Jefferson and think he's that guy with Dalvin Cook playing, but they are very good at doing that. But nonetheless, we have multiple occasions where Justin Jefferson has outscored Cousins, and I think his chances of doing that are even more elevated considering there's no Thielen to vulture touchdowns here.
And it's reflected in the ownership. Yep.
Yeah. So let's see what the ownership looks like. What does the ownership look like? All right. So Justin Jefferson. Ooh, yeah. Okay. 15% MVP, whereas
Kirk is 8.
Wow. Really?
That's why I'm a little higher on Kirk.
Yeah. So that's just an ownership leverage play and a sharp one right there. I mean, what the fuck, dude? By the way, Conklin catches a touchdown and Jefferson gets 2, and it's going to be Cousins. Cousins will be the guy because he threw a touchdown to anybody but Justin Jefferson. So essentially, if you're playing Jefferson, you're pretty much counting on Justin 2 touchdowns and probably Cousins not throwing any other touchdowns in the game, which it's a pretty big ask. It could happen because, of course, Dalvin could run for one and, it could just go that way. But it's a big ask. So be careful with that. But that's really interesting to see Justin double the MVP projection as Kirk. Other potential MVPs, I think we agree. Naji Harris, of course, is a good one. Chase Claypool, outside chance. Take a couple of points on Chase Claypool, Bobbywow?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we know he's gonna have a 2 touchdown game at some point. So I'm probably not getting there on FanDuel tonight as MVP, but it would certainly help make you a little unique.
Kenneth does not like Jefferson. Says Tomlin will focus on shutting him down, which again, it is something we've seen Tomlin successfully do, shut down the opposing teams. It's a little Belichickian style. They've been pretty good against WR1, but I would counter that a little bit with Dalvin Cook in there, then they're just going to run it. I think if they're shutting Jefferson down, I don't think there's enough weaponry on the Vikings offensively to just throw it to Osborne and Conklin. I think it's going to probably go to Dalvin Cook, a lot of that goodness.
Yeah, I mean, and also there comes a point where players are just too good to completely shut down. Like Justin Jefferson is so unbelievably good. The Vikings are so focused on him. Like you've said, Geek, it's going to be really, really hard to shut him down and still be competitive in the game. I think, you alluded to it perfectly. Dalvin Cook is a very good weapon. So you shut Jefferson down, you're going to get beat on the ground. So I think they're going to take a balanced approach here. I don't know how they don't.
Yeah. And I don't think Tomlin is thinking about DFS people playing in the Showdown and trying to fuck our Justin Jefferson lineups.
Although apparently Belichick is, according to you.
Does that. Oh yeah, Belichick does that. He does. He specifically does that. So in the turd zone for FanDuel, I try to make a FanDuel lineup just before, and it is not easy because you get to a certain salary level, right? That's pretty much 8,500, and as soon as you go below it, it gets scary.
It gets hairy.
And it is not good. So I'm just going to point out Tyler Conklin here. Great play at 8,500. Like it. Couldn't play, the Boz at 9K. Joseph, couple of these. You probably need 2 of these in your lineup on FanDuel really to make it work because Ray McLeod, Zach Gentry, D.D. Westbrook, you know what these guys all have in common? This whole turd stink fest has in common right here. they're really not touchdown
They don't
scorers.
score touchdowns.
Yeah, they're not touchdown scorers. These are Draftkings turds, except for maybe, like you said, a Herndon outside shot or Zach Gentry insanity. These are not the kind of players. I mean, Ray fine if he gets a touchdown, good, but these are 5-8 percenters on FanDuel. You can't, like, I don't really want to click the button in a $55 lineup or 150 or 300. Anything that's like, I'm not trying to give myself a 5% chance of being in the money. I don't really want to click on Ray McLeod.
For sure. Can I go back to the super fast geek? I'm going to throw something up. So I just want to say, I don't fully agree with Kenneth on the strategy tonight, but I love it. Like, this is why we do these podcasts. This is why, in some ways, DFS Army exists, right? Like, we're not here to tell you exactly who to play. We're here to help you filter and process the information and then allow you to, like, with your biases and with your thoughts, like, put it all together to come up with your process and strategy. So I think it's awesome, man. I don't fully agree with it, but, like, I love that people are talking about these things in the chat, because that's the idea. This is why we do what we do.
Hell yeah. 100%. And that, what you just said, nailed it. Like, the idea is go with your gut. So, we got some ownership projections where, we're going to throw some data at you that says, hey, running backs get hurt a lot, and the backup comes in, and we're going to throw some data that shows that, running backs and quarterbacks tend to win more frequently on FanDuel, whereas pass catchers win more frequently on DraftKings. It's just how it goes. Those are not absolutes. Those are just tendencies. So you never know. But do you risk Cook? Yeah, sure. I mean, why would the team play him if he can't play? The guy says he can play. What are we supposed to do? Not believe him? I think we got to believe him. And that's it. I think we just got to believe it. Okay, he said he can play. All right, fine. We're gonna play him because we don't know. Hammy, I'm more concerned with than a shoulder. It's a hamstring. They go out, they try to play, and then bloop. 2 seconds in, it's hurting. We could see. Listen, Dalvin Cook comes in and out of a lot of games, but there we go. So let's slap a lineup together. So if you look on screen here, this was my best version of, like, throwing a turd in there, and it was DD Westbrook. What I like about this lineup is you do get a lot of the goodness: Jefferson, Deontay, Cook, Naji, all of that goodness in one lineup. I know it doesn't feel good.
Cousins. That's the only reason. Because if Justin Jefferson is up there, Kirk's got to be close, right?
It
just can't fit him.
Physically could not be done. So
yeah,
this is the problem. You physically could not make it work, because you really, like I said, you kind of have to go and hang out over here with Conklin and the Boz or Freiermuth. Like, these two guys kind of have to be in there, and you only got 12.5 left. And who you're going to put in? Dalvin Cook. So, I mean, didn't get Deontay Johnson in this lineup. You didn't get Naji Harris in the lineup. I'd rather have Naji than Dalvin, right? In a lineup that has Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins. You want to put Naji Harris in that one, right? But you can't, because I got no money left.
Yep.
The salaries are a little bit weird, and I'm telling you, I'm having a hard time. I don't think that the lineup that wins the tournament is going to have, like, the 5 highest scoring players at all. I think it's going to be a math equation because you simply cannot do it. The way the salaries lined up for this one, the minute you got Kirk Cousins up here, it's problems. So do I want to put Naji Harris at my MVP and kind of do something like that? And you just can't do it. You just can't do it. So I was really messy. So somebody was asking kind of what does the core lineup look like? I don't know.
It's really tough this week.
Yeah, this one's tricky. I spent a lot of time on this, like I said, before we started, because I was waiting for you. So I was trying to put lineups together and on FanDuel here, and I'm like, wow, man, the Tetris is not working. No matter what I do, I'm getting these weird guys left out. Like, I can't get Naji. I can't get. So then I started to think maybe I'll just leave the quarterbacks out.
Yeah, I don't hate it. And look, we don't always make crazy calls on here. I know we faded Zeke entirely last showdown or a couple showdowns ago. That was awesome. We just had a feeling. I'm less confident about this, but that's why in my notes I said you really don't have to get to Ben tonight. Like I get the secondary's bad, but don't feel like you have to force Ben Roethlisberger into your lineups because, like you said, it's really hard with the salaries and it's not like crazy high odds that he performs well. So he's one of my guys that I'll probably be underweight on, especially on FanDuel.
Even Kirk, I'm telling you, even Kirk at 16K with no real 6K or 7K kind of like players to bounce it out, where they priced up the tight ends at 9 or 10. It's really tricky because to play one of that means you really have to go all the way down with that D.D. Harris or that D.D. Westbrook play, which is fine if you're making 150, but you don't really feel great about it making just one. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting build. Let's take a look at FanDuel. I don't have a lineup for DraftKings that I felt good about. We'll take a look at FanDuel real quick and see if we can kind of slap a little something together. So I feel like if you started with a cheaper pass catcher, I don't know
for me, if I'm doing a cash lineup, I'm starting with probably Boswell
as your captain.
If I'm doing cash,
Captain Boswell.
Yeah, because watch what you can do now.
All right, I'm curious to how this build will work. So I think you're going to put Conklin in the lineup.
Give me some Conklin and Freiermuth.
Double tight end. Now we got 10-5, and it sounds like you could just click all the goodies.
Got Cousins if you want.
Naji. And it gets to Deontay.
Cousins.
Yeah, or Cousins.
Yeah, one of those two.
Yeah, can't get Dalvin in there, but
I like Deontay. I think you're either one, but see what you get. Like that's some good. That's some points right there.
I don't know that this one's winning a tournament with Boswell at the helm.
It's cash. That's my cash approach.
I think this could work. You get all the goodness, get all the running. Dalvin Cook's not in here. No, couldn't get Dalvin. Priced up. A little tricky. Yeah, Ben, cheapest 50. You know, it's hard to look at FanDuel and think you shouldn't play both quarterbacks, by the way. That tends to not go over well on FanDuel. But in a game where the wide receivers, the target trees are so tight between both teams, maybe this is the exception. Maybe don't play cash. Sometimes you don't play cash, guys. Just make some tournament lineups. Or if you feel a good path, I'm not feeling a good cash path, so I'm kind of probably not going to play it.
So how would your tournament lineup start, Geek, on DraftKings?
On DraftKings, I think you got to have a pass catcher in there. I don't hate putting Conklin in there or Freiermuth in there, but yeah, I don't hate starting one with Freiermuth, Conklin, or Claypool.
You mentioned Claypool. That has me intrigued.
Yeah, so let's say you start with Claypool. We say, hey, this is the game where Claypool finally catches a touchdown. That's a pretty cheap start. So I'll go back to your Boswell play and say, fine by me. I'll play the $3,800 guy. Maybe Vikings defense potentially get some turnovers.
KJ Osborne.
I think Osborne, you got to play him. Lots of targets. We got Pittsburgh, 9,800 left. Let's float our way up and look here. And so we're going to need one more cheapie and then hanging out in the 11K range. I think the other cheapie is probably Conklin or Freiermuth. Let's see. We've got two Pittsburgh pass. We got Pittsburgh. We got Minnesota. I'm probably going Conklin. I like the target increase that he saw. And at this point, if you play Conklin, actually, you get Jefferson, you get Deontay. Right now, I can actually go off of Conklin because, yeah, look at that.
Such a dead range, such a dead price range.
Yeah, it's a dead zone. So the math didn't work this time because of the dead zone. So how do we fix that? We got to go down from. We got to go on. This don't feel good at all. Oh no, right? But actually, that's still dead. What the hell? This is the problem. This is like we're gonna have to do some serious math making because if you put DD in there, it still doesn't work. Ray.
Yeah, and the other problem you run into is if you want to change the captain, the difference between Claypool and everybody else is so massive. It's such a big gap.
Put Naji in there. Vikings defense. Yeah, the way the salaries came together on this slate, I don't know how else to put it except to say they definitely made it tricky. I think the optimizer will be helpful. But how about this, man? I don't mind Vikings defense. I think Ben Roethlisberger can be sacked. He can be strip fumble sacked. He's slow like that. So what if you went something like that with Osborne, Jefferson, Vikings defense, and then Harris?
Do you feel like Harris can get there as captain with Vikings defense in the flex? That's my only question.
Yes. Okay. As a matter of fact, playing opposing defense against your captain has actually been a tournament winning strategy that really works. I think it's 17% of the time. It works way more frequently than you would think. So I'm fine with that. I like that better. You know, I don't mind that at all. Yeah, I probably like it better with a wide receiver up there as opposed to a running back. But Naji is effectively a wide receiver anyway.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't think I'm not against it. In other words, I'm not making a rule against this. Hell no.
Okay.
But I don't love these lineups. I'm just kind of looking at different approaches. And I think when you get down to the 3K range, what you're seeing is it's so turdly that a defense, a kicker, it's a very good chance that those guys might be the best scorers at 4K or below, just because, again, if D.D. Westbrook doesn't do it and Ray McLeod doesn't do it, then doesn't seem like anybody's going to do it unless we're forgetting somebody. Guys, in the freaking comments, man, are we forgetting someone? Like, who is under 4K that we really think is going to put up 10 plus fantasy points?
Boswell. He's the secret.
Yeah, the kicker. It's a kicker, though. Like, everybody below the kicker, you have to compare to the kicker. And so you better be damn cheaper than a kicker because the kicker's getting 6 points minimum. Who's better between Freiermuth and Claypool?
Oh, man.
I would say the safer play is Freiermuth with the upside on Claypool.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Yeah, Hill captain, Cowboys one lesser. I'm telling you, this wins. It's not played very frequently. It wins at a rate that is shockingly high on DraftKings. You almost always want to play a defense. You have to have some lineups like that because it's like a 17% win rate. It's very, very high. Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up there, Bobbywow. I wish we could have made some great lineups, but I think tonight you're going to see the winning lineup, and it's going to kind of be like, oh, that goes together a little weird. There'll be players that aren't the highest scoring players that aren't on the lineup, that are scoring a lot, that aren't on that lineup because of the way the salaries work. So,
One more question, Geek. One more question for you.
Go ahead.
Is this a week where we could see a 0 from a $200 guy in the Millie lineup?
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Okay.
I don't ever recall seeing that.
Or like a 1 or a 2.
Yes, I think that's always in play. But is there a $200 guy that might get a 1? Is it Anthony Miller? Is it Miller?
No, I don't think it's Miller. I don't think he's going to play. But I mean, any of these, like one of these backup Minnesota wide receivers, one catch, 1.5, 2 points.
The rookie wide
Chris Herndon, a catch.
CJ Ham,
I didn't know if you'd seen it. That's why I asked.
Yeah, no, it could be. I think that is possible. We've seen that the nuts play on occasion is just having a turd with 2 points at 200. And I'm telling you, the way the math works, you would think that's possible, but I just need anybody who's breathing, who's going to have any sort of snaps to have a shot at getting me 2-3 points. Maybe it's Ilmar Smith Marset. Who knows?
If it is, he's going to be added to the video.
I don't know. Anyway, all right. Good luck tonight, everyone. We will be making lineups, so let's get to it, and let's see those helmets at the top of the leaderboards. If it can't be me, I hope it's you guys. For Bobbywow, for myself, we'll see you next time.